For the past couple weeks now, I've been focusing on my self-concept. Every morning I wake up, I look at myself in the mirror and just compliment myself. I say things like I'm so beautiful, everybody loves me, and just simple things like that. Today and yesterday have just felt different. Like I know, my 3D doesn't really matter and I create everything, but I'm telling you, life in the past 48 hours has been insane. I'm a junior in high school. I can't lie, life got hard from February to the beginning of April, until I discovered the law. I usually can't get through a full day of school, so I have been ditching a decent amount lately. I have an amazing grade in the classes I'm not attending. So yesterday as usual, I got my friend to drop me off at home during our lunch without my mother knowing I left school. After about an hour of being home, she called me pissed that I was skipping yet again. Long story short, after the call I affirmed that she just completely forgot about it and wouldn't bring it up. Next thing you know, she comes home from work around 7:30 p.m. and never brought up anything. She didn't say anything this morning either. Another one is today. I dressed up in a cute outfit. Nothing was different other than the fact it was like a summer dress. Throughout my entire day, I had all my friends telling me how beautiful and cute I looked. Multiple of my teachers were telling me I looked very nice today, and even the lunch ladies were making nice comments about the dress, while I wasn't even in line for lunch. Then my friends started telling me how they just had a conversation about how I'm just so perfect and sweet and kind and just straight up boosting my ego. These past couple days have really proven to me that you are God. You are the creator and people are only a reflection of your thoughts. No matter how big it might seem, or if it's more difficult, that doesn't matter. All manifestations are the same, it's just about your belief system and if you really know about the power you hold. My story is pretty wild even to me. In the last year, I went from negative net worth to a fat 7 figures, closer to 8 than 7. What's odd, is that I only recently remembered that I set out for this outcome roughly 4 to 5 years ago, but forgot about that. I'm just writing this in case it might help someone. 2021, I moved to small but very picturesque village. Think of no central sewage system, no ATMs, but nice forests, beaches, and mountains within the vicinity. Life is very cheap. Not sure how, but somehow I discovered Neville Goddard's teachings. They were very interesting to me, also partly because even though not religious, I'm quite familiar with the Bible and other Gnostic spiritual concepts. Just out of interest, new interpretations to very classical texts always fascinate me. Consider it a hobby. I downloaded all of his lectures in his own voice in MP3 and an audio version of Fitz. Every day I would go on a solo hike through the mountains, forest, villages, while listening to his lectures. That's all I did. Sometimes, I would be re-listening the same lecture as days before. Then I started experiencing and observing life as if I had the 3.2 million I envisioned. I thought about this exact amount and how I would allocate it to a house and a passive income stream. I would then be able to enjoy the fresh air and walks like I was doing at that exact moment, but without having to work the majority of the time. I never thought about how this would come to be, but I assumed it would. I experienced life as if it was done. It actually did make me feel very happy. I kind of got addicted, fascinated by his lectures. I am not sure for how long I did this, but definitely over a span of weeks. I felt the wealth even though it was not literally there yet. Same year, I got a really good job offer from a place across the world. Took it, got delayed massively because of paperwork. Got the job, enjoyed it, made a decent income, but had high costs as well. Started a company in my spare time, worked on it for roughly a year, industry got a massive boost, got bought out for low 7 figures. Invested the proceeds and almost tripled my net worth by doing so. The actual specifics are not that interesting, because hard to repeat or take lessons from, it's mostly luck and being out there. Considering this was already the X time of me trying to start a business. I attribute the wild success to those weeks, listening to Neville, walking in the sun. The monetary wealth does feel exactly as how I simulated in my mind. For me, it's just about freedom of choice, nothing more. Haven't bought a single materialistic thing. It's actually baffling how powerful his teachings are. Until today, I never looked into what others think or write about Neville or how they interpret his teachings. I think I won't either. Even though I manifested my ex back after X amount of years, only for them to disappear again. When they broke contact, there was mentions of a 3P, they didn't come back begging to get back together or anything, which I had affirmed for, none of it, because I've been scared all these years of them rejecting me again. Needless to say, our breakup was nasty, our relationship prior to our breakup was nasty. What our relationship was months before we broke up, was them rejecting me constantly. Even after our breakup, they were rejecting me, their ex-partners would talk about me. I mean, you name it. Even when they spoke to me 3 years ago, they rejected me by randomly blocking me again. I managed to change them entirely as a person, they're completely different now. They're kind, apologetic, self-aware, slow to frustrate. I mean, everything I needed when we were together. Well, you'd probably ask me by now, well, if you managed to change them and manifest contact after so long, why would they disappear again? Because they are only a mirror reflection of myself. And I've been deathly afraid of not being good enough. So they had to follow suit. They didn't mean to hurt me, reject me, or disappear, but I've constantly hurt me, I've constantly rejected myself, I've constantly let myself down when it was time to show up for myself. You can manifest anything and anyone in, but if you too have rejected yourself and continue to, they won't stick. I'm more than enough, so are you. I create my reality, I have no more doubts in my mind. It's so true that things come to fruition in ways you would have never thought of, and now I see the evidence of my holiness and ability to create. I've created everything I've imagined, both good and bad. It's all been projected onto the screen of this 3D world. My journey here was long and frustrating at times, but I've taken many steps that ultimately lead to this heaven I'm in right now. It took 2 years for me to finally piece everything together and enter this dreamlike state. Don't be like me. All these posts, all of Neville's books, The Matrix, science, religion, you name it, they all are connected. Everything you need to be successful is right in front of you. Truly understand the material, truly take the time to understand and meditate on what everyone is telling you. Nothing matters, this world is your playground. It is all your creation, everything, everything, everything. We are all connected, you are the source, the start and the end. I am you, and you are me, you are the grass on the ground, the clouds in the sky, and you're creating it all. I've had many breakthroughs that took me to new heights and awakenings, new revelations, you could call them. The start of this year is when everything truly clicked. The things I've discovered and learned, the amount of knowledge I've gained is tremendous, and all connect back to one key point: life is a dream, your dream, do what you want. If you can conceive something in your mind and feel it to be real, it's yours. That's all it takes. I've manifested $10,000, 2 SPs, a new car, free college, a raise at work to over the amount I specified, despite being a part-time 1-day-a-week worker. I've manifested beauty, being sought after and highly desired, a best friend, happiness, abundance, prosperity, and success. I've truly become so detached from it all, nothing phases me anymore. My first SP was a tough roller coaster of events, and I ended up falling out of love with him. I wanted him for years, and I did ultimately get him, but by then, I'd become a new woman. The woman I dreamed of becoming, someone above the bullshit he tried to put me through. I met my new SP after getting over old SP, and he was everything I'd ever fathomed and wanted in a man. We had a powerful connection early on, and I don't think I've ever fallen for someone as hard and fast as I did for him. We were really close for a few weeks, but he ended up abruptly cutting it off, because of our age gap, and I was blindsided and devastated, but only for a second. And by a second, I mean a few days. Mind you, this happened this February, after I'd already proved the law to myself countless times. My emotions were intense, and I didn't know if I wanted him back, so I let myself wallow for those few days and contemplated if I wanted him back. After I got all the sadness out of my system, I decided that yes, I do want him. This led to me creating a Google Doc where I typed out all of my thoughts regarding manifestation. I had a few different sections: successes, in progress, reality, my journey, and sources. The first section is self-explanatory. The in progress section is a list of everything I want to happen. A simple, yet specific list of things I want. The reality section is a section in which I script everything I want to see happen in great detail. My journey is where I write out my thoughts and feelings, and where I write solutions to any issues I'm having. It's essentially my diary for the time being. I also have a sources tab with my favorite quotes and posts, and highlighted everything that stood out to me as important. I used this for a while to help me shift into a state in which I had this man I had such a powerful connection with back in my life, free of any dissonance he felt about our age gap. I was only halfway into the state, though I wasn't all the way there. I decided I needed discipline. I decided to set my sights on having him back in my life, super in love with me, and not lose sight of it. I'm the creator of all this. Everything I say goes. My first SP was a roller coaster ride and took way too long. He wasn't even what I wanted, and I felt a lot of resentment towards him. He was my first love, my high school sweetheart, so it was hard to let him go, but deep down I knew he wasn't what I wanted long term. New SP, however? That's something I knew was good, something I deserved, someone that fits my new state of being. So starting April 1st, I dedicated the month to doing SAT scenes regarding him as much as possible with as much sensory vividness as possible. I felt the warmth of his skin, heard his voice, smelled his cologne. I felt the happiness of being adored, catered to, respected, and wanted all day every day. I imagined myself going on runs with him, as we are both athletic people. I imagined us walking around our university together, going on dates, etc. After 2 weeks, we got back into contact and it all moved so fast. We have a running date planned this Saturday, and he ended up coming to see me tonight. I read, meditated on, and added to my Google Doc nearly every day. I remember the day he told me he was coming to campus, which was on this Tuesday. I decided I wanted him to compliment me and kiss me. I scripted it, went into SATs, and did this up until today, so for about 3 days. In my script, I imagined us sitting at this beautiful fountain we have on campus, him holding my hand and then kissing me. I imagined him walking me back to my dorm and kissing me again. I kid you not, tonight we ate together at the dining hall, held hands, and ended up at the fountain, where he held me and kissed me. He didn't walk me back to my dorm, but he did drive me, and kissed me passionately in his car before I went inside. I remember having anxiety this morning about tonight, but I remembered again that I am the source. It all went away. I knew it would happen, and it did. I go into depth about this manifestation specifically, because I initially found manifesting SPs to be intimidating and hard. This was considered big to me in a way, so I decided to deliberately test the law on something I had resistance against with before. The fact that it's happening exactly as I picture it is really eye-opening and solidifying to me. There have been countless times when I've manifested exacted situations or things I've wanted down to the dotted I's. It's truly amazing how my life has had such a steep climb to greatness since I detached from it and focused on my actual reality, my mind. The law is real. I've tested the law 1,000 different ways, and I've finally found what works for me. I know in every cell of my body that this is my world, and what I say goes. I have no fear, no worries. Life is your playground. I think it's worthy to note that in all of my 2 years of being on this journey, the biggest changes started when I used as much sensory vividness as possible. I used to be an aimless daydreamer and had fleeting scenes that I only saw to be real, but didn't feel, smell, hear, and taste. You know what I mean? Once I threw myself into feeling every single detail, into feeling it to be more real than this reality, everything, and I mean everything, changed. Find what makes it feel real and stick to it. Whatever it is. And remember, persist, and know your desire is yours. Don't think it, don't wonder if it's possible, know that anything is possible through imagination. I am a 19-year-old young man. When I turned 17 I had a glow up, like a actual glow-up where I suddenly went from being an average non-confident guy, to being really confident in my looks. I received a whole lot of compliments from females, friends, older people, and even males. A lot of people would call me the typical light skin and pretty boy etc., but that's just the pre-story to the actual topic. When I turned 18 in my last year of high school, I saw my hair thinning and developing bald patches, typical male pattern baldness, which I'd always feared due to family history. My dad, who was bald, would always compliment my hair, but say something along the lines of "enjoy it while it lasts" and things of that nature. Doctors say male pattern baldness comes from genetics. I felt devastated and hopeless, because doctors and the internet says it isn't reversible, only with medication, which I would only use as my absolute last shot due to the horrible side effects it has on a man, which is for a whole other discussion. Despite it not being extreme, I started wearing a cap to hide my thinning hair, even though it wasn't too noticeable, but I just wasn't satisfied at all. I couldn't accept it. For some reason, I just knew deep inside of me that there is a way to reverse this naturally, without some bullshit placebo medication. And God guided me to the knowledge I needed to beat this battle. It all changed when I came across Neville and learned about the power of the kind. My soul was seeking an answer to how I could win this battle, and God guided me to the knowledge needed to beat it. God guides the souls that seek guidance. It is no coincidence that I found Neville's teachings. I realized that I manifested my own hair loss. Not willingly but subconsciously, by believing in the myth that it's just genetics, and there is no cure. My dad saying the things he did, and the things we learned from doctors and the internet programmed my mind into thinking that there was no way out of this. It was deeply engraved in my subconscious mind, but once I understood that I am in complete charge and only I can manifest it away, that's when the shift happened. It took a while to reprogram my mind to this knowledge due to years of learning all these small-minded myths such as, you can't be tall if your parents aren't, and genetics can't be changed etc. So when I finally managed to reprogram my mind, the balding finally stopped. I had successfully changed my self-image to someone who is not balding. And I changed my whole belief system. Now I see little to no hair loss, only normal amounts, and even new hair growth on the patches. This also goes to show that methods are only ways to help you change your self-image and belief. It all comes down to which assumption are planted in your subconscious mind, whether you use SATs, affirmations, or whatever. It's all about taking control of your thoughts and realizing how powerful your mind is. You create your own reality, you just need to take control and be the captain of your ship.